Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Episode 3, The Rewinds, Rewind, Big Brother 17. We're back. We're so back. Um, as always, I am Jackson, your lovely host. I am joined by three other lovely people right now, maybe four if Sydney gets off of her women in law lecture or whatever she's doing right now, which I'm sure she will. Um,
She took female diversity hire really seriously. Okay.
Yes, she's currently learning about how she can sue us for not having more females on the hosting team. So let's
And I
hope it's
support
not
her.
that good of a class.
My God.
Otherwise we might be out of a job here pretty soon. So, but yes, I'm
Period.
Jackson. We have a very special guest again this week from last season of Big Brother Rewinds. I'm sure Sydney is like on the verge of killing herself, given that she's not here right now
Oh my God,
to
Jackson.
witness this. But indeed, from last season, we have Hayden, aka
Hello.
Ace. Hi, Ace. How are you?
Oh my
Hello, I'm very
God.
good. Yeah, hi, I was Hayden last season. You probably know me better from actually our sister series that Jackson hosts, Pixel Brother, where I was the winner of season
Famed winner
two.
of Pixel Brother.
So
Yes, that's true.
Period.
very
Famed,
True.
excited to be on.
famed
Thank you so much for having me.
co-founder of the Bluey Brigade.
True.
So important.
Just a
The
lot,
most
a lot
important
of
truth
a lot
bearer.
of good boosts on your resume. Absolutely.
That's why I'm here.
Yes,
How do you think I got the
exactly.
invite?
Are we?
Okay, I can go next.
Sure.
Cheeks normally goes next, so I was waiting for him, but I'll go
I
next.
we usually do the guest
Uh,
last, so I was like, are
I
we
was
skipping
changing it
that?
up a little bit.
All
It's
right.
good to have some variety.
Yeah.
Jackson's really throwing us all off. Anyway, hi, I am Alex. I am normally the double female diversity hire, but Sydney's not here yet, so I'm flying solo.
It's true.
And
Exactly.
I am Shinx, or as I'm going to be doing this unfunny bit, Sydney in a wig for the next like hour until she gets here or so.
I
Very
think you have
Fuck
less
excited.
hair than
Donnie.
Sydney.
Fuck. I do have. I got a haircut today too, but the point is, I'm Shinx in a wig, which is now Sydney. Fuck Donnie. Grr.
Shinx in a wig was you in 15. Let's be so real.
That's true, but like a really bad, like
Yeah.
obvious wig, and that was the only.
The rattiest little mane.
But yes, here we are, cycle 3 of Big Brother Rewinds 17. At the end of last cycle, we lost our dear, dear Steve. Um, the winner's curse continued, and
He left the server too today. I just saw.
oh,
So
that's
good
okay.
riddance.
I did not notice. And I don't think anyone else did. But
Pour one out, etc.
yeah, even despite a failed attempt and a flirting with flipping the vote to send Austin home over Steve, Steve still went. I believe the vote was 8-1. Before the last laugh and everything that Meg did, I think it was 9-3 or something like that. But still, it was overwhelmingly
I
for
think
Steve.
it came out to 8-1 or something
Yeah.
afterwards. Yeah.
And now here we are. We have to get some new heads of household up in here. And we go into Act 3, Cycle 3, and it is movie musicals. There's a
Or is
whole
it musical
Or musical
movies?
movies.
or musical movies.
Okay.
I know there was a big debate about it. I'm of the belief that movie musical implies that it was a movie that got turned into a musical. Musical movie implies the inverse, but it's up for debate, I guess.
I didn't get the difference. I just wrote what the script said.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's so many movie musicals, pretty much any Disney movie that's out there, but we'll save that for a later cycle. Um, think of like Grease, think of Heathers, think of Waitress, think of whatever. Pretty, and that's also kind of like a trend right now in like Broadway and theater is like, what movie from like 30 years ago can we make into a musical? People will love it. So there's plenty to work with. We start HOH with a waitress themed competition. It is called Order Up. That was the HOH, right? That was in POV.
Yes, that was
Oh, that's right.
actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, it was with a waitress themed competition called Order Up. It's basically kind of just like a logic puzzle that Graham made beautifully on Canva with his little like menu that
That's
he
so
did.
cute.
It was very cute. Yes.
Bro, Graham put the answer key in Canva. We were like, bro, what are you doing? How are we
He got
supposed to
away with it. Yeah.
He was just
carried
really he
away.
was really riding that
He
Canva
was
high.
into
It'll
the
get you.
vibe, and we loved it.
Yeah. And so basically there was 9 different answers with 9 different pies, and they got little tickets based on like different stuff. Like they had like food allergies and like they don't like this, or like one of them was like they hate Thanksgiving or something like that. I don't remember. But
Low sodium diet or something. Yeah.
yes, yeah. Or like allergic to like green food coloring, which is what tripped Shelly up. Um and yeah, they just basically had to match like 1 to 1 who got what pies, and whoever did it at the fastest time the most correctly won. Um and it was again another moment of Austin being like, if you don't get a perfect score in this, like what are you doing? And many people did not get perfect scores, to say the least. So
Look at the scores, champ.
yeah,
What was our
yeah,
DQ count for this? I feel like we should keep like a running tally of how many people
yeah,
were
Technically,
DQ'd.
we
none.
absolutely should. I'm sure there was.
Everyone actually did this one, just some incorrectly. Jeff was throwing maybe a bit too much, got a 4 out of 9.
That's right. I forgot about
Shelly
that.
swapped 2 things and got a 7 out of 9. Jason and Audrey accidentally both put something twice and got 8 out of 9. And everyone else knows how to read and got 9 out of 9.
Period. Good for them.
Listen,
Honestly, that's pretty
with
great
We are
these
for
grading on such a
people,
curve this season. It's fine.
with some of these people, that is not a given.
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes down to quite a few people that got 9 out of 9, like Austin said, including Austin himself, but he took far too much time in order to get a winning score. Meg was like the first one to go, and she put up a really good time, like right over like 3 minutes, 3:17, I believe, according to the scores channel. And we were all pretty confident that like that was going to be one of the winning scores. Maybe someone might edge her out for like first, and maybe she'll take second or something, but that was a pretty solid score. And then it was a bunch of other people kind of came in. Vanessa was in the mix for the twins for a little bit with like a 4 minute something. Um, yeah, Audrey, again, another competition that Audrey would have won, but she like messed up one like crucial thing and just failed to do so. And then Jason came in and like fucking kind of blew it out of the water.
Jason destroyed. I was
Yeah,
like, God damn.
like
Like I went to
73
bed
minutes.
thinking Meg
Yeah.
was first place. I look, I'm like, oh, Jason's leading. It's Jason and Meg or Vanessa, whoever goes after.
Yeah. And then
Just a mess.
another competition where John was on the podium too. John, if it weren't for Jason, John would have been, I think John, or no, John would have been second behind Meg. He was about 11 seconds behind Meg. Um, and you'll
Yeah.
find that that continues and will continue to be a running theme of John almost winning competitions that he probably really needs. But he just falls that much short. So
Yeah.
the Meg HOH, a lot of people are totally fine with and really down for it because Meg has just done a really good job of connecting with almost everybody in the game. But the Jason HOH definitely throws a lot of people into like a spiral of like, what the fuck are we gonna do?
I was so happy. Too many people are getting comfortable in that house. Like they
Now,
just
It was
had 2 weeks of
hilarious.
just such easy weeks. It's like, all right, fucking play Big Brother, y'all. Come on.
we
Ace,
need
just
to.
imagine if Caleb got an HOH last season, basically. That's what happened in like week 3 or whatever. If
I
that's
don't
basically
know
what
though. I
happened
feel like if
here.
Caleb did get, I feel like while I do, and while we have been kind of fitting Jason into the Caleb archetype from last season, just on this like ridiculous comp streak week after week, I firmly think Jason is a far better player than Caleb.
Jason's
Yeah, he
actually
has
a good player, yeah.
he
Sorry.
has
Yeah,
some
and
alliances.
yes, yeah, he's not
So
actively
Yeah.
not
Caleb just
actively being in no alliances just for like the meme of it, like Caleb did last season.
it's okay. Not that much on Beast Boy Cowboy. On Beast Mode Cowboy.
You're not too much.
Sorry.
But yeah, instead, the Beast Mode Twink
I think
decide
he called himself Beast Mode Twinkboy today or something.
Beast Mode Twink
Yeah, who's
Boy.
Yeah.
leaking?
I swear to God, I think he said that like legitimately.
That's awesome. Good for him. I'll take it. That's funny. But yeah, Jason is actually like, oh, I am like, because this is kind of the first opportunity that Jason has to get on the offense instead of just playing on the defense and like winning Battle of the Block or Veto or something. So he's taking the initiative and he says, I'm gonna make a fucking alliance. And that's
Period.
exactly what he does. And good for him. I don't think Caleb would have done that. I think Caleb would have just done whatever. So
Damn. Yeah. That's kind of true though.
Yeah,
I
Caleb just would have been like, I'm gonna nominate Amber. And who else? I don't even think
oh,
he would know. It would have been a fucking mess. But
Would we
Jason
have gotten
decided,
like a Pablo wheel or something?
honestly,
We would have
maybe.
gotten a chat GPT speech.
Yeah, maybe he would have asked
I'm
ChatGPT.
not mad. That speech was good. I liked it. I quite enjoyed it
It
in
was
the
very
dramatic
good.
reading.
But
Yeah.
on the topic of BB16 and like the Jason comparisons, we also have the Giants and the Team Rocket of it all.
Period. Oh, I'm
And
so happy with that.
once again,
So
the
sweet.
someone started treating the Giants like a real alliance, and it was insane because why are you treating the fucking Giants that you don't know who made on day two, with everyone sharing just the first letter of their name as a real alliance?
Yeah.
But
I
here we
think
are.
Jason as Victoria is so important to me. Like that
that's
is just I really enjoy that.
I'd honestly say Jeff was pulling more of a quarter than Jason was, but we'll get to that when we get to
that's fair.
that.
That's fair.
That's true.
I think
We'll
people,
get to it, but yeah.
and who was it? Someone said something in Giants, and someone else referred to it as like, good for you for saying that in a public space.
Yes. Oh my God. So the referring to the Giants, the public space, sent me so much. I can't remember who that was.
So
Was that
funny.
Jackie or like?
I
I
feel like it
think it
had to have
was
been like Jackie or Jace or something.
I think it was Jackie talking about. Okay, well, spoiler. Jeff and Jackie are going to talk. Well, Jeff in the Giants says they
It
think
was Meg. Meg
Um,
Icon.
that Vanessa's the
Oh
twins,
wait,
and
no.
then Jackie tells people, and I think either Jackie or Meg, someone's like, "Why would you say that in a public place, like in the Giants of all places, that you think the
oh,
twin is so and so?"
ugh.
But yeah, everyone's clocked Vanessa. They don't know who Veronica is yet, but they've all clocked Vanessa as the twin, basically.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a powwow in kind of like the core alliances, the like the Davon, Meg, Jackie, Jace, like Liz's, kind of where the power is kind of consolidating with a lot of these people. And a lot of them are beginning to connect the dots that well, Vanessa like well, they kind of had multiple things. They said it was Davon explicitly that said that Vanessa kind of has a very like middle of the road, like neutral way of typing to people so that it would be easier to like bounce back and forth between two people and not have a super specific typing method, which I thought was a very good observation from her.
Mhm.
But also they're referring to Vanessa as the Trumpy twin because
The
she talks
Trumpy
about like
twin.
being a Republican or
And
something.
Veronica is the theatrical twin,
Yeah, and
or the
Veronica,
Or the
dramatic
excited
twin, or the
twin.
excited twin, or
yeah,
the
more
annoying twin,
excitable.
as Meg said.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah,
The
more
favorite
people
twin,
have
as
the
I
twin.
say.
Yeah. And I think Vanessa and Veronica think they're like, no one knows. We're doing
Yeah,
good.
Veronica was saying, whoever's in charge right now in real life was saying, I don't know how people are making rumors about us. We're doing so good. And I'm like, clearly you're not if there's rumors going on about
No.
you. But
Meanwhile,
okay.
like half the house at this point are assuming that they're the twins and are just like, why aren't they telling us? It's so obvious.
Yeah, well, spoiler alert, they finally do tell someone, but it's not the person like Jackie and James who tried to like bait them into saying so, and they just denied it and then
Yeah.
told Becky. So just that'll be fun when they get
Yeah.
in.
But that'll be for next episode. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
this episode, instead, we have a different duo that is talking about solidifying things with our two, arguably our two most like cracked people in the house, Jason and Audrey, really want to buddy up and uh, discuss each other's secrets and each other's alliances and are each other's mutual like number ones. Jace kind of sees Audrey as like kind of how Jackie viewed James before James started like ingratiating himself further into Jackie's game, but kind of that person that's not necessarily in all of their core alliances, but this person on the outside that they can be even closer to and get more information from, which I
Which is
think is
great positioning for a
yeah.
duo. That's
No,
really good
absolutely.
positioning.
I think people get kind of caught up a lot of the times on like, okay, well, let me get all the people that I want to work with and no want to work with me, and let me just get them all in a group, and then we can all just work together. When really it can be this situation where you need to get outside information from other people as well, and
Yeah,
that's
that gets real myopic real fast if you
yeah,
just like keep everyone together
yeah. It just doesn't.
for
It
sure.
might work for like short term, but it tends to not work long term. Um, yeah, everyone's freaking out about Jason being head of household. He's gone from winning 2 battles of the block in a row to now winning head of household. And in the HOH room, um, Meg tells Jason to nominate 2 of the J's just to keep the running gag going. But Jason actually is like, I don't think so. I think I want to nominate Davon and Jackie. And Meg is like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, what if we didn't? And uh I think Meg consciously didn't like push back on both of those just to be a lot, but she does push back on Davon. She says, I really like Davon. I think you and Davon maybe just haven't had the opportunity to connect, but I think she would absolutely be wanting to work with you. So like I don't think we should like throw that number away for us if we can get an alliance together. And that works for Day at least. And so Jason takes this and he decides that 6 people is a good number. And he wants to get a 6-person alliance together with Meg. And since Meg just said this about Day, they can get Davon into it. And Jason and Jeff have this bond from the week 1 Battle of the Block that they won together. They've been super close since. They both kind of see each other as underdogs, and I think that's pretty accurate. They are definitely on
Yeah.
the outside of structures. And then Liz also gets thrown into it. Um, I think Meg also kind of vouched for Liz because Meg and Liz are super close, even though Liz isn't exactly the most like active person in the world off and on. Um, and so Meg kind of vouches for Liz to be included in that as well. And Meg does do a good job at advocating for some of her allies, but it definitely does kind of tip Jason off to being like, oh, I'm pretty sure she has like this other group that's going on. Because she's like vouching for this person or vouching for this person and kind of like speaking for other people almost. And which is kind of a subtle thing that maybe not everyone would pick up on. So good on Jason for picking that up. Um, and yeah, they end up, so they were gonna do 6 people, but they end up just going with 5 because they couldn't really decide on a 6th person. And plus, that's kind of a lot of people. So they do
Yeah,
end
I was
up,
gonna say, I'm like 6 is famously just a very solid and stable number of people for
I
an
know, yeah,
alliance.
just so many, yeah, so little can go wrong with so many people. So they just end up going with that 5 that we mentioned before. So Meg, Liz, Jeff, Jason, and Davon. And they
The
named the
5
alliance
territories of the United States.
yeah, the territories of the United States. So that's great.
Like, sure.
I
Yeah,
believe they all like I don't remember who all got labels, but it's Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, American Samoa, the Northern Mariner Island, Guam, and I just remember Jason said I want the Virgin Islands, and he made a joke today just renaming them the Twink Islands. So Jason and replacing things with Twink is his new bit, I guess.
I support it. I think it's funny.
Social.
Yeah, his social
Remember,
case.
like
He's in
Jeff
his
was like, I
social era.
want Guam. Meg was like, I want Samoa because Survivor, blah 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 blah. So yeah, that's their logic, I guess.
Yeah, Meg is telling all of this to her actual alliance, the
The
Club
board
Lords and
lords.
everything. So they all know. Jason, Jackie, and uh, everyone, or her main allies, Jason, Jackie, are getting told about all of this because Day and Liz are also included in that anyway. So, and while Jason's at it, he also shores up a deal with Jackie to keep each other safe until jury. So that's great. It really has been kind of these first 3 cycles because Austin and Jackie started this game in the exact same position. They were both head of household first, and it's just kind of wild to see how drastically different their games like diverged from that point. Because Jackie's just done nothing but build like more and more allies and relationships with people, and Austin has just like downward spiraled since. And Austin was the one who stayed HOH. And Jackie got dethroned. So if anything, you would
Maybe it
think
was
that,
better to
yeah,
get dethroned.
I guess, yeah. But like, it's crazy to me also that Jackie was first HOH, nominated Jeff and Jason, and both of them went on to win one of the HOHs, cycle 2 and cycle 3, and neither of them even like nominated her. I think that's crazy and kind of just shows.
That's powerful.
Yeah, it really is. Um, yeah, there's a note from Shanks in the podcast notes channel that says Jason is unironically dead ass protecting the Geliant.
That's what I
He
said when I said
was.
Victoria. That's what I meant by that.
Yeah,
I was like, are we serious? Like, okay, I guess.
Look, he didn't want to lose the J, okay?
no.
True, he never became Asen.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, he can't lose his J. That's like all he has. Yes.
Literally.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, speaking of Austin, they're both, it's kind of like what happened last cycle too. They're both like, so we're gonna nominate Austin, right? Like one of us is gonna nominate him. It's just a matter of who. Uh, and Meg also kind of just to further push Austin like under the bus, I guess, frames Austin for having the last laugh last cycle, knowing full well that she had it.
Yeah.
They end up
Sneaky, sneaky.
yeah, so Meg kind of goes the more expected nominees. Jason did get first in the competition, so he does get to pick the order. He does choose to nominate first. Um, but he kind of concedes to Meg, kind of whoever she wants first, and he'll just like not touch those people. So
I
Meg
forget who it
decides,
was. There was someone
I
who
think
was making a comment of like whoever they've noticed like whoever has the second HOH or like places second actually kind of comes out better because they almost have like first dibs in a weird twisted way
yeah, it
as
was
far
Meg
yeah,
as
because I was
okay yeah
thinking because I was thinking about it like how last season, no offense, Ace, but like when they like let Ace lock his noms and then they switched up their plan, which is kind of like the risk of like going first. You should get first dibs, but then you also don't have any control of what the second person does. But here, I think because Battle Block is so short, everyone's still trying to like play nice and not step on anyone's toes. So like, oh, do you want to nominate these people? I'm like, okay, I'm sure I can find two other people, but we haven't had like a situation yet where it's like, yeah, I want these two. You're on your fucking own. Goodbye.
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know a thing or two about like blocking in first and like what that really
Yeah.
means.
Uh,
And it's like, yeah, there's just a certain like extent to having two people with like different interests as I guess head of household. So it's really a very fine line you have to walk in terms of like not pissing each other off. I especially think Jason and Meg having like the deal to not backdoor one another. I feel like that's like a very good part of the gameplay here because it's that trust that you are working together. You're not just gonna nominate the two people that you want. You're gonna try to have a successful HJ train that you can both call, even if one of you gets dethroned.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's the other point of like you've pissed off the other HOH, they stay HOH. You could get backdoored.
Mm.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we have seen all the HOHs so far make that same deal of like, we won't touch each other if we have to do arena, like we promise.
Yeah,
And
someone brought up like the only week you should try it is the last week of Battle of the Block because
yeah,
they can't retaliate, like they can't do it to you the next week. Or I'm like, I guess. I'm also just like, just break the twist at that point. Just like, how would you feel if you got backdoored on your own HOH? It wouldn't be very good.
and I really think that like the whole point of this entire twist and why it was made is because like Allison Grodner wanted that moment of like the HOH getting backdoored and getting evicted on the same week.
And it only happened once out of like 8 + 5
Yeah, and it only
13
happened that one
times.
time with Nicole in 16. Um,
Pissed me off so much.
so, and I just don't really, I don't know. I feel like if you win a competition, you should be, I think
Yeah,
it's,
in recent years, they've walked it back whenever they've dethroned an HOH for whatever twist reason.
yeah,
They've always kept their immunity at the very
yeah,
least.
It
So
feels
I guess
like
they
that
realize like
Survivor
nothing's
twist when they try to do like the hourglass thing and then like
oh yeah.
swatch the immunity tribes, and then there was so much backlash that they were
At
like,
least you like
never
knew you
mind.
won. At least they said from day one, if you win, you might not be saved.
yeah,
Yeah.
Which is also why a lot of people are throwing these HOHs because they don't want to be stuck having to make like Jeff was throwing because he didn't want to make second fiddle noms because the
yeah,
first HOH took the noms he did want. So everyone's like
Mhm.
overthrowing like Austin clocked.
yeah. People are either
And
staying like as far away as humanly possible from HOH to begin with, or if they do get HOH, they're like doing their damnedest to get dethroned. Like every cycle, that's like
I
what,
think every
It's true,
HOH
they
has
will.
wanted to be dethroned. I'm not kidding.
yeah.
Every single one.
No, I think so too.
Everyone wishing their noms luck in Battle of
Because
the Block.
you
Like,
get
please
the
dethrone me,
safety,
please.
assuming
I beg.
Yeah.
assuming your partner HOH is genuine, you get the safety and your noms are safe.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you don't have to make another renom or anything. So it's
Yeah.
better in that sense. But just
Yeah,
I'm
especially
ready
when
for the
there's four
twist to
noms
end.
to begin with. You start running out of
Yeah.
numbers real fucking
I'm
quick.
very ready for the twist to end.
I know.
I,
Thank God it's
I've always
shorter on
said
this season.
it works in like a 2-team setting that they've never done, but just throwing it at 16 people in the fucking wild, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And
And I think it's silly that the winners of the Battle of the Block are like immune for the rest of the cycle, but the HOH that got dethroned isn't. That just seems kind of wild to me, but whatever. We don't have to harp about there've
they
been
don't
plenty
want
of
like
complaints.
9 people immune or however fucking many it can max out to be anymore.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
need someone to go home.
Yeah. And then we get like the final 8 of last season where
I
quite
was about to
Yeah.
ask what that final count
Hey.
was.
it was like I,
Everyone was immune except for Nicole and
everyone
Jocasta.
had something, everyone on the chart had something going on. Like
Yeah.
there was an HOH, a dethroned HOH, a nominee, a vetoed nominee, a like replacement
Two
nominee,
Battle of the Blocks.
Yeah.
2 battles of the block. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just
Cody was
That's
HOH.
too
Nicole
much.
was dethroned. Amber and Jocasta nominated. Hayden and Brittany battled the block. Joey was not in the house at that moment. And Donnie won the veto and saved Victoria with it. So literally everyone had a fucking tally that
yeah.
week. It was a nightmare.
And that's why I'm glad that this season it's only 5 weeks and we're on
One
week
more week in real
yeah,
life. God
yeah,
bless.
we're so close. We're so close. We can see the light. But yes, so Meg does kind of end up going with the easier noms for herself and lets Jason know that she wants to nominate Austin and Shelly. Um, Shelly did get together finally with a group of people last cycle. Unfortunately, Meg was just not one of those people. And all of those people that it was with went on to tell Meg. So Meg knows that Shelly's in an alliance that doesn't involve her. So it makes sense for her to nominate Shelly as she's kind of on the top of that like bottom group of with that like the Jasons and Jeffs and Austins and I would
Mhm.
throw John in there too, like of the world. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and then Jason ends up nominating Becky for eviction, someone that she or he has not bonded with a lot. And Vanessa, the twins. The twins are on the block. Red
We were
alert.
shaking in our fucking
And
boots.
Sydney had a
Sydney
motherfucking
wanted to
breakdown.
cry.
Yes.
Sydney
She
worked really
was
hard
so
on these
upset.
Yeah.
competitions
So
that she was like, if they
we
lose,
were all
I'm
kind of
making
like,
my
please,
out.
please, Becky, Vanessa, you have to win Battle of the Block. Please. We can't lose you.
She's
Um,
not at a women's caucus right now. She is just like crying in the bathroom because she didn't want to discuss Vanessa's
she
nomination.
couldn't get through it. Yeah, she couldn't take it. Um,
She couldn't relive that trauma.
yeah. And it's even
Real.
worse for the twins and Becky because they both really like each other too. They're kind of like each other's like closest allies in the game. So through no means of his own, like it wasn't like Jason was like, well, these two are super close, so I'm gonna put them up. He kind of just fell into it. But if anything,
Mastermind King, okay? Credit
yeah.
where credit's due,
No,
kind of.
his like his third eye, it just opened and he saw it.
Exactly.
But if anything, it honestly makes Becky and the twins closer. They're like, we have to do this. We have to win. We have to save ourselves. Um, and yeah,
This cast is so melodramatic. I love them.
they really are. Just at the drop of a hat, they'll like have a breakdown, and it's so funny. And good for them. And honestly, I understand.
Oh,
Yanking
absolutely.
monologues every evening.
So
Appreciate
yeah,
it.
they go in to Battle of the Block. This Battle of the Block competition is based on I don't remember. What was this Battle of the Block
I
competition?
mean, I got it. Scrolling. It
Oh, it was the Mary Poppins
was
one.
Practically Perfect.
practically perfect.
Yes.
Yes.
It was the
Oh
Mary
yeah, the outline one.
Yeah.
It was inventory tech basically.
Yeah,
I
the
did
Mary
this
Poppins.
competition
Yes.
Hmm.
last season.
Period.
You have personal experience with it. How is this competition for you,
I
Ace?
do. So last season, this was Pokemon themed for Shinx's wishes. And it was, I believe it was actually the Fucky Week that we were just talking about. It was the
It
final
was,
part
yeah, it was
one
Poison Week. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it
where
was.
Nicole had put up me and Brittany because she wanted to be dethroned, and actually I don't know if she wanted to be dethroned, but she wanted me and Brittany to be safe. That's
Yeah.
the idea. And then I think we were against Cody nominating
Amber and
Victoria and
Victoria. I
Amber.
remember now. The
Yes.
Victoria
And
accidentally getting
Victoria and
command
Amber
in their channel.
DNF'd.
And
Yeah,
it's
it was
just so
really bad.
bad.
So if there was any chance of them winning, I don't think it was against me and Brittany, but
They were doing
they
bad
threw it out in the
anyways, and then they
trash.
DNF'd anyways. I was just like,
Yeah.
girl, you can't
But
do it in this channel.
I
And they tried to
know.
I
keep
did.
going. They're like, can we redo the comp? I'm like, girl, no, we can't redo it.
No.
Like, we made this a month ago. I'm sorry.
I know.
It
Yeah.
seems like a
So
theme.
we had a little
Yeah.
DNF snafu, as is Victoria's MO.
Yeah.
And me and Brittany, I don't think they were gonna win anyways, even if they didn't DNF.
They weren't.
Probably not.
They weren't. I
Yeah,
was watching them. They were not.
yeah, I personally really like the comp because I mean I'm a huge Pokemon fan, so I actually recognize what some of the items were. So that was a big help to me. And
Yeah.
I was gonna say last season we had a lot of silhouette competitions, and I'm glad. I think that was the only one this year.
We did have a lot of silhouette competitions last season, actually. But
One
yeah,
was identifying,
basically the same idea,
which I
but
did make.
yeah, themed around
Yeah.
Mary Poppins and her little bag and all the stuff that she pulls out of it and everything. Um, so it's basically one person gets like the items in the normal channel that like what they look like, and then the other person gets a set of like five of just like the silhouettes, and they have to communicate back and forth as to what it is and have the right letters and all that.
I liked that twist on it that it was just 5 at a time. That was
Yeah,
cute
yeah,
because
yeah,
it
yeah,
wasn't like
Yeah.
it was round. Oh, they're which one?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it
Yeah.
was kind of
Yeah.
interesting for that.
There was one that was like it
The
actually was,
pocket watch looked like a peach or something, and they
yes,
kept
yeah, the
complaining
Yeah,
pocket
that
about
watch.
did.
it.
It bullied
People
him.
kept describing it as a peach, yeah.
Or a
Um,
plum, whatever the fuck is that.
and at one point, I think it was when Becky and Vanessa went, it was like the last, because there was only 15 items. And so they were on the last one, and they had, I think, they described four of them, and they just didn't know what the last one was, but they were just like, it's just process of elimination. It's whatever the last one is.
Yeah. I mean, it worked. They
Yeah,
shut it down
it did work.
very
Yeah.
quickly.
Shelly and Austin struggle a little bit. They get a few answers wrong to begin with. There's no like penalty or whatever for getting an answer wrong, but just the extra time that you have to take to figure out what
Yeah.
happened. But yes, Becky and Vanessa kind of crushed it, honestly. They did quite well. If my memory serves me correctly, I think they pretty handily beat Shelly
It
and
was 6 minutes
yeah,
versus 10 minutes. Yeah.
yeah, like almost by almost like 4 minutes they beat them. So, and they celebrate to like raucous applause from the Spec Lounge and get their one-on-ones and everything. And
We need the twins. I don't even care if they both make jury. I just need them to both
Didn't
win the
we
game.
say somewhere in results like, oh, it's close? And Austin was like, they had like fucking like we had like double their score. What are you talking about? Like
I
it
said it
was
was
not
close.
close.
It was split by 4 minutes. Then I did their time first. I'm like, yeah, they did not finish this in 2 minutes. So,
yeah,
and Austin was, that
yeah.
wasn't close at all.
Yeah, Austin was like,
We
well,
were
I
trying to
doubt
be nice, okay?
they're like, I doubt they took 15 minutes to do this. So
6 and 10 are close. It's just they're small numbers.
yeah,
So
that's okay. It's okay. But yes, Becky and the twins win their safety for the week, and dethrone Jason as head of household. So Meg will stay as head of household for the remainder of this cycle with
The house
Austin and
cheers.
Shelly. Yeah, Austin and Shelly on the block. Shelly also kind of hatched this plan if she were to lose the Battle of the Block to be like, I'm gonna convince Meg to backdoor Jason. It'll be amazing. Um, and unfortunately, that
Meg, who had no desire to do that.
yeah, Meg did not want to do that, to say the least. But good for Shelly for thinking about it, I guess. Let's see. Going into the power of veto competition now that the nominees are set. It is Again, I forget what the competition is. This feels
It
like
was Catch Me If You Chameleon.
oh yes, yes.
And the player Meg got House of Stories and picked Liz. And then
Hmm.
Becky got to play for the fucking third veto in a row. Spoiler, she plays in 4 out of 4 thus far.
Yeah, the veto picker loves Becky. She's played, despite not
And
being a
then
nominee or HOH or anything, she's been picked for every veto so far.
Jason
She
was
will
last.
not be backdoored at 7.
No, she will not. By God, she'll at least get to play.
And then we got Graham's Chameleon competition. Everyone's very confused as to why we had a graphic. And I was like, well, look, we wanted it to be live, but some of
It's supposed
y'all
to be live.
didn't want that. So we're not wasting our graphics.
Yes, by
But
God.
Graham has already used Canva for the answer key. We are definitely using it
Yes,
for the semi live.
the competition will be
yeah,
cute. So help me.
yeah,
But
we power through.
yeah, themed around Catch Me If You Can, Chameleon, spot, find the one thing that doesn't belong out of the list. Pretty straightforward in concept. You would think. I don't know. Some of these people, you never know. A lot of people seem to really get hung up on the graphic part of it, and we had to tell them multiple times the graphic does not matter. Just look at the list and use your deductive reasoning skills.
Julie Chen adultery was the funniest thing on that board. But also a bit of controversy. When Graham was
I
making
like
the
Heckle.
competition, he forgot that Julie Chen was on The Talk and not The View because all those daytime talk shows get fucking mixed up.
Honestly, I can't blame him because I did
I
too. I
can't.
think it was Jason who
I
was
didn't
like
even notice
questioning
it.
something, and I'm like
Yeah.
very confidently like, "Well, yeah, Julie was on the View. Like, what are you talking about?" And he's like, "Are you sure?" Because I'm googling right now.
Yeah, I didn't even notice or trust everyone else. Like it is what it is. But yeah,
It is.
everyone else still got it wrong except Jason, and we gave Jason the point, and it came down to
Mhm.
everyone else still got it just blatantly wrong anyways. Between
I'm
having
glad that
two
we
correct
didn't throw that
answers.
question out because a lot of people
Yeah.
just got it like straight up wrong.
It didn't change the
So
outcome though. Meg would have just won outright anyway, so I don't think it. I might have, but whatever. Meg beat Jason very handily in that competition
Yes. Megara
and
sweeps it.
took her sweep week for the first time this season.
As she should.
period. Broom, broom, broom.
Something about those blondes sweeping week 3.
Honestly, almost a mop week if you want to count the last laugh trickling over. We got a mop on our hands.
Not quite, almost.
Trickling
Mom.
over? No.
Maybe maybe like a dust broom, like one of those.
If it was the real show, she would have it would have all been the same night. Well, the HOH anyways, but anyways.
That's okay. But yeah, in while the veto competition is going on, it does take a little bit. Uh, Vanessa slash Veronica slash whichever twin is on. I just kind of refer to them blanketly as Vanessa, and I probably
I
will
think it was
continue to do so.
Veronica who was like swearing revenge on Jason and shit.
Yes, they will not rest until Jason is dead by their hands. Uh,
Which I
and
respect.
yeah, no, I totally respect. And they are kind of getting increasingly worried that people are targeting the twins, and maybe that they are kind of starting to catch on a little bit because a lot of people are making a lot of jokes about the twins and specifically referencing Vanessa in it. Uh, they're starting to think that they're not really joking, and they aren't, kind of. So, uh, more and more people are referencing it and making the twins more and more nervous that people know and that they're going to find out and get targeted for it.
Vanessa, like, you didn't say JK though.
Yeah, yeah, it's like the slash like joking or slash like serious or whatever. It's like you
Yeah.
didn't clarify. How am I supposed to know? But
We start
and
implementing tone indicators in the game.
yeah,
Oh my
and I
god.
think I think Meg kind of picks up that they're actually genuinely a little nervous about it and starts making jokes about Austin being the twin with Judas and stuff like that. So yeah, Meg is makes it pretty clear that she does want Austin to go and starts to kind of go around and make sure that the votes are there for Austin to get the boot over Shelley, which should be pretty secure. Um, Shelley, thankfully, because of this alliance that Shelley put together last cycle with like Davon and James and a lot of these more powerful, genuinely like influential people in the house. They're already wanting to keep Shelley, especially over Austin, who just no one really vibes with anyways, other than like John
He's
at this
been
point.
trying. He's been trying, just not well.
Yeah, just for whatever reason, Austin maybe like the
I think
personality or
Austin said he's been heavy leaning into the alt thing a little more, which is hindering his social ability. Because he said Steve clocked him, another spec clocked him, which specs don't tell the people if you clock them unless
Yeah,
they're
that's
like your
real
close, close,
shitty.
close,
That's so
close,
bad.
close best friend, and they already fucking told you anyways. Don't ruin the fun.
the whole
Gosh.
point, people. It's the whole point of this
Yeah.
series. So,
But yeah, like Austin was like putting his guard up because of the alt thing and trying really hard to not get found, which was like hurting his social game.
It
mhm.
really makes me sad when people like let that kind of get in their way because it's so easy to almost like maybe it's because I purposefully chose like alts that I thought I could kind of like be myself and kind of still be in that character, but like it's so fun to just kind of like let loose and say whatever the fuck you want and like just be kind of crazy, and that's my favorite thing about BBR. So it just makes me sad like when you see situations where the alt thing is actually what's hindering someone's game, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And honestly, if you had told me that, or if you hadn't have told me that Austin was like le really leaning into the alt thing, I don't think I would have known. Like,
Yeah, he's like mentioned it in his sub and stuff. It was like it's really hard
I
to
think
like
I
get
think
other people.
there's kind of two ways you can go about it. You can kind of see it as like something that you can add on to and like things that you can do with it as the character, or you can kind of see it as like things that you can't do regarding like I guess like your own personal thing, maybe your own personal play style and everything. And I think unfortunately Austin kind of fell into the latter of it and saw it as more of a
Yeah.
limitation than it was like the fun stuff that he could do with it. Because like especially with Austin, like there's the whole Judas thing, the whole professional wrestling thing.
Oh, I
There,
fully would have claimed like DID if I was Austin. Like I would
yeah,
just
Oh,
be
I
having
think the
I would
only
have
issue with that is
multiples.
getting clocked as the twin if you're pulling that stuff, but they're like, would the twins be that obvious? It's a whole other can of
yeah.
worms with
And
the
like
twin
maybe
suspicion.
like if once the nom's locked, like change your profile picture and like ask them
Yep.
you can like
Yep.
change your name to
Can I change into
Judas or
Jude?
something like that. Just like fun stuff like that to kind of like win people over. Unfortunately,
He
that kind of stuff works a lot more in like the first couple cycles of the game as
Yeah,
people are
Austin was kind of checked that he was like, if these people are lying to me, then I don't stand a chance. Like,
yeah.
he like rallied the people who were like, some people were just leading him on to lead him on. It's like it's week 3, there's
I
no
fucking
battle
hate
back.
that. I
It's
cannot stand
pre-jury,
that.
just like let him go.
I was
And
like
yeah,
ranting in Spec Lounge about that. It upsets me
some
so
of them
much.
were like
It's so
leading him
dumb.
on. He did the whole grab everyone who says you want to keep you but thing where you put them on the chat and then nobody said a word or even a
Oh, that
reaction.
was
And
so
he was kind of
awkward.
like, he
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I kind of saw this coming. I'm just ready to
And I
go.
have to put like respect on his name. Like he really tried. He had
Yeah,
really great
he did not.
pitches,
His feet were on the gas the entire time.
Mhm.
Yeah. He had some really good points, but like he
Yeah,
just it was so far behind that he
it
just could
it
not get
reminds
back.
me of Lane and BB12, kind of, where every breeder got like ejected or quit or something except for Lane. It was
Mhm.
kind of like Austin was like the first actual victim, but it's week 3, so like the like connections and dots were like there, and he was just like it just wasn't good enough, but he was like still trying. It was like it felt kind of like a robbery because the first 2 easy votes were already gone, and it was like now it's just like okay, how much trying is good enough for XYZ people, and
Yeah,
yeah,
and I think even like maybe consciously or subconsciously, the whole mindset of the first 2 votes were like, well, these people aren't even here, so like I'm not even gonna bother to talk to them. I'm just gonna vote them out.
yeah,
Uh,
Mhm.
so I think that kind of spilled over into this week as well, even though Austin was trying like infinitely more than Clay or Steve ever did or attempted to do. Um, so it's just kind of unfortunate like setting of circumstance that went on to then affect Austin. And I think even like Jason said something about that, like after Austin gets evicted. He's like, oh,
yeah,
sorry, I was just so used to Steve and Clay like being non-existent that I didn't even like.
yeah. Because after Austin leaves, Jason goes into he names the chat Operation Save Austin, and then as soon as
Which always
Austin
goes
leaves.
well when you name an alliance. Operation Save this person.
As soon as Austin left, Jason sent a GIF of the Operation game and someone like hitting the thing and getting and then Devon was like, the body's not even cold yet. And then Jason was like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm so used to it just them not being here at all. It was like,
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, in all of this, Austin attempting to rally the votes, really the only person that does mean it and is going around actively trying to get them is John. And he
Oh
goes
my
to,
God.
yeah.
Some
Jackie
people
cracked me up with
considered
that,
it,
by the
but
way.
then it was like John was the only one going ham, and it was hurting him.
Jackie said something in her confessional about like, oh my God, Austin just got together like an alliance of all the people that want to save him. That's just John. Don't you already have a one on one? Like, which sent me so bad. I was cracking up.
Yeah. Really, yeah, really got him with that one. And that's unfortunately like really the case. Like that's
It really
Yeah.
was. It
the
was
only
sad,
person.
but
And John goes to his Hooked on Pfizer immunity people
Community
from week one,
alliance.
with Vanessa and Becky and Meg. And it's like, hey guys, like we need to save Austin. Like we can do it. Let's get these votes together. And like, because they have that, and then they have that. Vanessa has that one-off alliance with Austin and James as well. And so Austin's kind of like trying to piece these people together that he thinks would want to keep him. And yeah, for whatever reason, these people are just like, yeah, sure, I'll vote to keep you. Why not? Yeah. And just kind of placating him and just for no reason. None of them intend to actually do it. And
it's
I've
so
been
dumb.
on like the other side of this where people are just like lying for no reason. And it's exactly what Austin said. It's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
if like all of these people are collectively lying to me anyways, and like I'm just getting evicted anyways, like what could I have even done about that? Like,
It's so extra dumb to me because like that early on, why don't you use those like quote unquote lower stake votes to build up a reputation for telling the truth about how you're voting so you can fucking lie later when it actually matters. And
Exactly.
like it's so stupid to me. Like
yeah, it's
I
it's
cannot stand
it's
it.
very frustrating. But Audrey, in typical Audrey form, throws a hinky vote and votes for Shelley. Um, because that's just what Audrey does. She's very in character.
Oh,
When she's not
Yeah.
spiraling about like thinking that she's gonna get backdoored and is gonna get evicted at any given moment, she's throwing hinky votes onto the person she knows for a fact isn't going home. So
Jason. Oh, forgot to mention Meg discarded the veto. The way she didn't.
Oh yeah.
She ran a Brant steal to get a screenshot, rigged it, and then was like, "Yeah, I'm
That's
discarding."
iconic behavior.
Maybe like 2 hours after she won, which I do appreciate. Like, why hold
yeah,
things up if you're gonna do? You have the show on
Hmm.
the road. And yeah, Audrey and Jason both throw their hinky votes, and John smartly tried to warn Shelley, like, "Hey, I'm voting to keep you." Once he like knew the tide wasn't gonna turn, but then after the vote came out, whatever to two, there was like, so one of them's John, right? Even he's like, why would he lie to Shelley? It's like just hurting his image even more, even though he did tell the truth and vote out Austin.
yeah, and John is just very quickly becoming like the scapegoat for everything,
So
just
yeah,
because.
I forget if it was this week or last. I might have been like in the interim, but Vanessa and Becky were talking, or Vanessa was talking to Jason. Oh, it's both into this week, but it kind of matters a little bit, like real life week four. But it was like Vanessa and Jason were talking, and Jason was like, "Vanessa, I'm nominating you, son." So I was running out of options. I talked to people. I did the battle of the block with John. No one was like defending you, and then Vanessa was like, "What? John threw you into the bus? Becky, John threw me into the bus," and
Yeah,
that's not. I'm like, not. I might be misunderstanding it, but to my recollection, 99% sure Jason was just saying I ran through these people and then other people left. I won Battle of the Block with John before, so I can't nominate him. And then it leaves these people, in which you were one of. But Vanessa just, I might have been wrong. I don't. One of them saw John's name and then misinterpreted it and saw red, and now they hate John.
yeah, it was very from what I gathered, it was Jason saying, well, like these are the people that I had the options of, and like unfortunately, like no one really pushed back on like your name to be nominated. And so that's what I was
Yeah,
going with. But at some point, John was specifically mentioned in that, and they either took it as like John didn't defend me and he's supposed to be defending me, which I don't think they would think that anyway, so probably not that. But they
yeah,
took it as like John threw me under the bus to Jason, and John is the reason I'm getting nominated by Jason.
yeah,
I can't believe
yeah.
it.
She runs to Becky and is like, "John's a fucking rat," and then
Yeah,
Becky's like, "I don't think John's a even if he didn't, I don't think he threw you under the bus. He probably didn't push hard to save you, but he didn't throw you under.
yeah.
But
Becky's
that'll
like, I
spill
like
more.
John. John is cool.
But
It's
yeah, that'll
comforting
still
that
work.
they don't just misread like comp instructions, though. I
Oh
mean, the
yeah,
literacy goes to DMs,
they
so it's
have
not
double the
us.
eyes on that conversation, and they still fucked it up.
Oh, please. They have fucking fights in DMs about who's going to ghost better. Like, let's not even start with that. They're not reading their DMs. Let's be so
They're not.
real.
They back read a little bit to just see what they have to say and match them. So that they're not retaining that information.
Yeah. Oh, and one thing I will say, Jeff was kind of like on the fence about the vote, and he kind of could have gone either way, as far as Austin or Shelley goes. But he is told about the Operation Save Austin alliance that he does not get included in. So because
How
of
did
that,
Austin come up with those people? Like,
I'm really not
where
sure.
did
Let me
that
go
group
back
come
and
from?
check.
I think they were all the
All of us
people who
did
like
it.
said who hit him with the maybes or the yeah I want you to stay, but we need to know the generic org spiel of
So it
like
was
if you can get
everyone
the
who
number.
gave him like just bullshit, like leading him
Yes,
on stuff,
I
as
because he
think,
opposed
was
to
like,
anyone who
look,
was like actually going to entertain it.
yeah, like,
Wild.
yeah,
okay,
because like,
if you're telling the truth, the rest of the numbers are here. If you're
yeah.
lying, I'm fucked anyways. So
Because
let's
there's
just
like there's the people that he actually had alliances with that he could like point to with like Vanessa and John and James and Jackie.
Mhm.
And then the other four people, the because Jason, Jace, Davon, and Becky were also involved in it. Those four other people, especially Jace, were a lot more like just tell Austin whatever like he wants to hear, like whatever. He's going home, but just tell him whatever. And so Austin being like, which is honestly good on him, like you were saying, Alex. Like a lot of people would just take that and be like, okay, thanks. But he's actually like, yo, all of you guys have said in like one place or another that you would vote to keep me if the numbers are there. Like, here's the numbers. Vote to keep me.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've seen it time and time again. It can actually work if there's like people who are just kind of being cagey to each other about how they're going to vote because they don't know what like the vote is. You get everyone together in a public place, you start hashing it out. It can happen, but not when everyone's just feeding you BS. Like it just wasn't
yeah.
a situation where it's going to work.
Yeah. And as soon as Austin does make that chat and like
And guess
puts
what?
his pitch and stuff in there, and quite literally no one responds. Austin's
No
like,
one even reacted. Like there were no emotes in that channel. It was barren.
just Austin. And Austin was like,
Yeah, I
okay,
think
well, I'm going home.
it got insta leaked, and it, like the people who weren't in there, like Jeff and Audrey, were like, okay, well now I can't keep you because you're making this chat without me.
Yeah.
That's part of why those chats were not good ideas. But when you're in that position, I've been in that position before. Sometimes you're just fucking desperate, and you're like, yo, look, if you're gonna do it, they're here. If you're not, you're not, and that's just how it boils out.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So Audrey has her hinky vote. Jason also throws a hinky vote onto Shelley for some reason. I honestly don't know why, and he didn't really tell us why. So that's fine. But it ends up being,
Jason tried to do a hanky vote for Austin in week two. Well, that was also like a
oh,
sneaky
that's
vote,
right.
but
Yeah,
just
maybe Audrey's like hinky vote itis has just spread, and Jason
Jason just got
was
lucky that
doing
it
to
got
fuck with people.
canceled.
So
Yeah, I'd be surprised if Austin and Jason vote majority this week, unless it's like really close and they have to, which it might be, honestly.
but yeah, so it ends up being 9-2, and Austin does end up getting evicted next to Shelley. May he rest in peace. I will say his 3 cycle like record is kind of crazy.
He didn't vote once.
No, didn't vote once.
That's
Was
Frank numbers.
HOH week 1, and then nominated week 2, evicted week 3. It's crazy. It's
You never got to say, Julie, you look so beautiful tonight.
I know, so sad. We were going through it in host chat and stuff because obviously, given that he was HOH week 1 and then evicted by week 3, that had to be up there for kind of worst performances as a first HOH. Um, as far as placement goes, it absolutely is. But obviously there's kind of inflated casts as these seasons go on.
Yeah,
So
season six
technically,
had a good old.
technically
You go for
he's
it.
evicted in 14th. If the Twins do enter, he'll get bumped down to 15th. So placement wise, he absolutely is the worst first HOH that we've ever had. But as far as actual like cycles go, Jennifer still takes it from Big Brother 6, because she was first HOH and then was immediately evicted cycle 2. So
Yeah, I believe before my win was like first HOH was cursed, and even like twists like the power couple and nine was cursed. Like whoever held the control in the first eviction cycle of the game did not win. Even trickling down to like BB14 with like whatever coat Tanya had with Vic Jody, it didn't win. Just yeah, first stage to wait. First set of power is seemingly cursed unless you're like me and you have to win everything to beat the fucking curse. Like that's
I was
just
gonna
how it
say, I'm
goes.
like, it wasn't through like,
Yeah, I just
your
had
social
to
game is good,
win.
but it wasn't through your social game. It was just
Yeah,
because you fucking won the house.
I
Like,
had to fight the curse.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
we
there's
we
always
tried
the
our
exception.
damnedest.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, first stage, but it's still cursed,
that
basically.
was by and large the week. We can move on to our little MVP points. Every episode, we all deem one person who, for whatever reasoning we want, they're your favorite player of the week, who entertained you the most, who was the flashiest, whatever you want. We each get one MVP point that we can give out. And it is now time to do that. Would anyone like to go first?
I'll go first because I'll be a contrarian because I already know who's going to get it, I'm pretty sure, and the top billing of the week. However, as I've said before last season, I respect the fight. I respect never giving up. And even though he got evicted, I think Austin's fight and drive, we need to see more of that. Like, if every other evictee this season does not do what Austin did and fight to the last fucking breath, then they should go home. And I'm going to give
Period.
Austin a nice little posthumous MVP point from Beyond.
He honestly
Out of
ate
this.
up his campaign. He really did. It was impressive.
Yeah. I think if people weren't just locked on him from the beginning, if people were actually considering it, it might have worked. And
Hmm.
I'm giving respect to the fight because it was the first actual eviction vote that had stakes. And yeah, it didn't go his way, but he didn't give up. So I'm going to give him the point.
I almost feel like his fight set up future weeks of people being a little bit more open about like not just going with house majority or what the HOH wants or that kind of thing. Like,
Yeah, week four
it
we're
didn't work for
seeing
him, but like
yeah
for the season overall, like props king. Thank you.
week four we're seeing some of that trickle down now. So hopefully
Hmm.
that's
Game changer.
Austin's impact on the season.
Game changer, Austin Madison.
So true. It was the Judas in him.
Yeah, no kidding. Absolutely. I can go ahead and go next. I am going to give my MVP point to Meg for this cycle. I think she kind of had like a, well, I guess not as perfect as it possibly could be without having like some like big giant target that you want to like make a move and take out. So as far as like someone that's still pretty much like on the bottom of the game in Austin, I think Meg's HOH went about as perfectly as it could have gone. She used it to shore up a relationship and this alliance with like Jason and Jeff, who I feel like are big blind spots for a lot of other people in the game. So her having that, I think, is really big, and they both feel really good about Meg, and getting a sweep week and being able to show her allies like, hey, I can win competitions if I need to or want to, and I'm willing to get like blood on my hands and like do what I need to do so that we get what we want. Um, is really great, and people have like basically said that word for word, like in their DRs, like, oh, well, we can rely on Meg. Um, to do what's best for us. So that's really great. And I think she's one of the best positioned, if not the best positioned person in the game right now. Pretty much everyone wants to work with her. She's number two in the power rankings, or not power rankings, in the trust rankings, just right under Jace, but it's super close. And I think Jace's game is going to blow up a hell of a lot sooner than Meg's is going to blow up. Um,
Yes.
and with people already starting to kind of catch on to like the Vanessa twins thing, and people are already starting to kind of clock that Jackie is sort of close and like running a lot of stuff. Meg, I think, is kind of in that perfect, not quite like under the radar, but maybe more like middle of the road, like power player position that everyone wants to work with, but won't get caught that everyone wants to work with them and get targeted for it. So I'm giving my point to Meg. I think she's doing great.
Period.
Um,
Did you want
you
to
want to
get
go
Ace?
next? I'll go, yeah. Um, I am giving my point to Meg for much the same reasons. I feel like she came out this week with a very clean HOH, which I feel like when you're someone who's at really the top of the house, it's really the best thing you can do is to get a more or less unanimous vote. How boring it is, no matter what. It's good gameplay when you think about it because you're coming out of the HOH, nobody's really upset at you. You're doing pretty good for yourself. You show to your allies that you can win things, which I think is such an important thing when the game flips, because ultimately it's going to flip, and then you're going to be the one having to fight for your life, and that's a selling point that you can give, is that you can win comps and you can be useful in a way. So I think Meg is doing a great job for having a sweep week. I don't think anybody's really looking at her as much of a comp threat really that much, even though sweep week's a sweep week. So I think Meg's doing great, and I look forward to seeing how she goes out from here.
Period.
I could not agree more.
And I will continue to do so because my MVP pick is also Meg. I'm going to kind of piggyback on one thing Jackson said and then one thing Ace said. Jackson, I believe you said that like Meg got blood on her hands and like was willing to win comps and everything, and that kind of showed her allies that she was willing to do that. But I think one of the things that was more important than that was like the fact that she was willing to advocate for her allies' safety and also conveyed that information to them so that they were aware that she did so.
Yeah.
And I think that that really, because like in these games, you can talk you can talk so much shit, like, but it's not until you actually see that trust through action that you really start to actually solidify those bonds. And so I think she did a really, really good job at that, of like giving people tangible reasons to trust her and to show that like she had their backs, which would then cause them to actually want to prioritize her above even some people like who they might have had like better conversations with necessarily. I don't read the DMs. I have them muted because it's just too
I
much.
unmute them at like jury if even.
Yeah, like single
Exactly.
digits, I'll unmute them.
But I mean, like, I feel as though like I could really see a future where like, someone is more charming in DMs than Meg, even though she's adorable. But like because she was kind of showing that like solid trust, they would prioritize her over the person who's like, hey, are they misting everyone? Are they like this with everyone? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Absolutely.
You know?
Which
And
is
then
what
the
I think is
thing
happening with like Jason Jack.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah, I
people
think.
should be.
Oh,
Yeah.
because
And I just want to kind of get in my other little thing, piggybacking off Ace, was I think you had mentioned like, oh, it's a little bit of a boring HOH. And I think like when you are in Meg's position, because I think we had mentioned earlier, like, oh, everyone was excited that Meg got HOH. And if everyone's excited you got HOH, like maybe you shouldn't have gotten HOH. But
that
like
as of
the
week
fact,
4, Meg is in alliances with every single person now, every
what a
single
queen.
individual.
I love it.
But like I feel as though when you are in that position where everyone's excited you got HOH, a boring HOH is like the dream. That
That's
is
what you
all
need.
you can hope for.
Yeah.
Because like when you're in that power structure like that, like disrupting that just fucks you over. Like so you want the status quo to stay the same because it benefits you, you know.
Absolutely.
So I think she
Yeah.
just really ate up by being like she quietly ate up, and that's all she needed to do.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah,
completely
I was gonna mention that. Like, I think it was Davon specifically who was like, "Wow, I didn't know Meg was shooting for me like that. I'm gonna have to like
Mm-hmm.
keep that in mind for like next time." So that, I mean, yeah, it's like she raised her socks with Davon by saving her. So like,
Yeah,
yeah,
fully.
Meg played very well.
And
And if I
Dave's a
didn't give
great
my
one to
point to
get in with.
Austin, I would have given it to Meg, but I felt pity
Mm-hmm.
for Austin.
No, no, no. And I'm glad we did spread it out a little bit because, like, I feel as
Yeah,
though this cast is so kind of broadly good, especially now that we kind of got out, like, the people who just weren't logging into their accounts.
yeah,
That, like, it is kind of good to spread out the love a bit because a
yeah.
lot of people deserve some flowers and props and everything.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I'm sure all of you have noticed that Sydney has been noticeably absent from this experience. But do not fret.
She's horseback riding. It's fine.
Yeah, she's horseback riding in the horizon right now, learning about her women law and all that. And I will gladly put her in here in a second. So it will seem like she was here the whole time, and I'll put her in, and she'll have her MVP point, and she'll do her top billing of the week.
I am predicting now she will record it in her car, and we will hear the traffic in the
She'll
background.
probably do it like on
Following.
the. She's probably recording it right now as we speak, driving
Yes,
Yes.
home.
maybe so.
Love
Yeah,
Sydney.
yeah. Sydney, you missed Ace, so that's on you. The
Well
number
done,
one
big
Hayden
fan.
fan, not here. But yes, so this will be where I include Sydney. We'll let Sydney have her little moment with her.
And you are so right, Queen. You have such good opinions.
Yes, and when she gives Hayden an MVP point and her top billing of the week, um,
Let's go.
just know it's because she was not listening to us this entire time and she was not present. So she can very much go rogue and do whatever she wants.
Okay, so for my top billing this week, I am choosing Meg. And that is because Meg has played a very solid, under the radar, impressive game so far. But this was the first week where she actually was in the spotlight and had power. And not just HOH, but she also obviously won POV. And so I think that she really just put her best foot forward and showed that she can play a great game in front of the house, not just, as an under the radar player. She's very palatable, very easy to like. And I think that she not only went about her noms the best way, she made the right noms, but they also weren't like incensed at her, because she just has a great way of putting people's minds at ease and making them feel good. And she really had a great HOH reign, considering she wasn't dethroned. One of her 2 nominees left, meaning one less person that she wasn't close with and someone who possibly could have come after her in the future. No one in the house was really upset with her. Honestly, she's really allied with a lot of the house, and I think those bonds were only strengthened through this HOH. So, yeah, Meg was the biggest standout for me this week.
Thank you so much, Sydney. You're so wise
I
and
can't believe she said that.
powerful as always.
She is so smart, guys.
She really
love her.
Yes, so it is that time of the week where we have our nominees for awards this season around. Instead of doing a this week or this cycle in Rewind's history, we have our little award contenders and nominees, a la Tony Awards and the Broadway theater of it all. Before we have our nominees for this week, I can reveal the results from last week.
I'm so excited. I love how I refuse to look at the poll results so I can find
Can I
out
write
live
in
on
the
air.
week 4 HOH of this season? I'd like
We'll
to write
we'll
in.
talk about it. We'll talk about it. But yeah, if in case you didn't watch the last episode, that's okay. But I will remind you that last cycle, stirred on by Jeff's poor handling of his own nominees, and maybe an omen of what was to come with Liz and these in cycle 4. It was the nominees for worst bedside manner from a head of household. So basically, anytime that someone was particularly bad about nominating or handling their HOH week. Quick run through of the nominees that we got. We had Ashlea's pre-jury pawning of James in Rewind 6. We had Jacob being mean to the nice girls in Rewinds 9. We had Shelly ending Chelsea and Joshua's winning streak in 13. Also in 13, we had Kaser backdooring his sole ally left in the game in Chelsea. We had Sunflower
That's not
drinking.
fair. I was with him again. So
Yeah.
kinda.
In 15, we had Sunflower drinking the dumb bitch juice, cycle 3, and nominating Isabel and Doomslayer. Also in 15, we had Sombra going ghost on Bandana Waddle Dee at the final 5. And then, of course, the inspiration, we had Jeff just really wanting to get dethroned last cycle. This one was closer than the first one, I will say. But the winner with approximately 44% of the votes, we have indeed from Rewinds 15, Sunflower drinking the dumb bitch juice, cycle
Of course.
Yep.
Of course.
This is very appropriate. So congratulations, Liam. You finally won something. You should be so proud.
He won co-third place in Rewind Your Game.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He was the co-second runner-up and yeah, right. But yes, so this week, of course, we had the lovely Megara getting a sweep week and rather booting her game with it a lot. So originally we were going to do the best sweep week in Rewind's history for the category, but upon reflection of me going back and looking at all of the sweep weeks that we've had, honestly, not a lot of people have done particularly great things with their sweep weeks. So
The
I
best ones are
decided,
all boring or just like
yeah, for the
straightforward.
most part, yeah. So I decided to instead go with most memorable sweep weeks, and that kind of broadened things up a little bit. Um, and so, of course, I will include, just because it was kind of the inspiration for this, I will include Meg's sweep week this cycle. I mean, I think it's deserving. I think she did a very good job, and it is absolutely one of the instances that I would say where an HOH has done the most to increase their position and better their game. So I will throw Meg in the ring for the nominee for that. But I also want to talk about a couple instances that both took place in Big Brother Rewind's 11. If you've listened to just about any of these podcasts, I always talk about it, and it's my favorite Rewind season that we've had so far. But both of these instances include who Swan would refer to as an inactive flop bitch, Shima. um, from Big Brother Rewind's 11. The first instance is Shima having her own sweep week, cycle 4, and deciding to just kind of say fuck it and nominate Sheila and Jen, two of the returnee captains of their teams from that season. Shima was largely inactive. Um, she would come on every now and then and kind of entertain
Let's
Kevin.
say like Liz tier
I was
activity
just gonna
wise.
say, I'm like, so Liz,
Yeah,
like,
Yeah.
it's a little bit shades of Liz, absolutely. Most of the time it would be her coming online and responding to Kevin's really terrible campaigns of like, please vote to keep me, and she would just say, okay, queen, and then like vote to keep Kevin. So there's that. But yes, so she kind of out of the blue wins HOH cycle 4. And kind of similar situation to the reactions that people had with Jason. A lot of people have no idea what the fuck she's gonna do. And I don't even think she knew what she was gonna do. But she decided to swing big and really shoot for the stars. And she nominated Sheila and Jen, and obviously ended up sweeping the week. I believe it was by like 17 seconds or something that she beat
Yeah, Swan
Swan.
got second in the face mask
Yeah,
veto
it
and
was very
traumatized.
sad, but very notable and very memorable, as you would say, for these nominees. And I think it was the perfect conclusion to the 2 season Jen Sheila arc of it all. So at least there was that. Um, this did very little to actually help her in the game because she did very little to actually help herself in the game. She found herself nominated the next cycle, one veto to save herself again. So she won 3 competitions in a row. So she avoided being the immediate boot following her sweep week, um, only to be evicted by the hands of a different sweep week at the double eviction a couple cycles later. My own personal friend Haley Martini playing as Casey from Big Brother Rewinds 11 goes on to win head of household kind of out of nowhere in the double eviction. He had won HOH cycle 2, but that one also kind of came out of nowhere. Um, so he goes in and wins that, and he decides to pawn Steven, uh, reverse cowboy fame of BB Rewind's history, and Lydia, was it Lydia? I think it was Stephen and
Yeah.
yeah, Stephen and Lydia. And then they do the live veto competition, and Casey also ends up winning that, takes off Stephen and backdoors Shima, to which she is then unanimously evicted in like 12th place or something, or like 11th place. Um, both very notable in the realms of my favorite BB Rewind season and also just kind of entertainment wise as well. So those are my 2 nominees that I'm also throwing into the ring. Who would like to nominate next?
I've got two, but I'm also gonna promo that Jackson, Swan, and myself all have week 1 sweep weeks. So
That's
like, look at us go. But what I'm really gonna talk about, there's two numbers. One is from my least favorite season, that Big Brother United 12, where Brittany probably almost had not just a sweep week, damn near like a vacuum, because she could have had the Diamond Power veto at
a
this week,
stupid
but
vacuum week.
she I don't even remember what her thought process was,
I
but
do. I
she's
can tell you. She thought
go
that it
for
was just going to turn the normal veto of a
it.
future week
Okay.
into the Diamond Power veto.
Got it.
That's
Yeah.
why she said no.
I can
And this
kind
is
of
why
get
you
the
read the
thought,
Twist channel, guys.
Literally.
I kind of get the thought process because that's how they did it in like Big Brother 21, which is still fairly recent in this point in time. And we had said we're not going to do Pandora's Box like a 1-to-1. So I can kind of get the logic, but she just saw the thing while she was HOH and then threw it away. She didn't want her HOH to get fucked. Then won the veto and was like, man, I could have had a diamond veto. And was like, no, you could have just had it if you just took it. But she didn't. And there was that. But what I really have to talk about is Big Brother Reruns 14, where Hazel fabled horrible HOHs. Just,
It's true. It
I
took her
believe
a
this
couple.
was
It
her.
took her a couple seasons to have a good HOH.
This is her second career HOH, and if anything could have went wrong, it did. For starters, she nominates her enemy JoJo, her future enemy Aaron, because we love multi-season storylines, and she nominates her ally and captain Janelle as a pawn. And we were like, why? But that's what she wanted to do. And then she sweeps the week, throws noms away. We get to the vote, but we have a lot of dilemmas here. First dilemma, Shane just didn't vote. He's European. He fell asleep, didn't vote. So we had to run the vote to the deadline. And then in that intermission period, Frank also decided he could no longer stay in the game and wanted to quit immediately. And now Frank's vote would have made the difference, but because he was leaving, we're like, well, you're not going to vote. It doesn't make sense to vote, then leave. So we let Frank leave, and Frank joined the jury because he had an actual valid reason to quit the game. But then Shane's vote suddenly mattered. So we gave Shane the strike. Then we had to extend the week because they're right. Well, suddenly it's not final 9. Now it's final 8. And if you want to change your vote, you can because Frank is gone now, and everything went so topsy turvy. And in a week where JoJo was supposed to go home, Janelle ended up going home in probably the single most tragic fashion that has happened and will ever happen in U.S. history. But the fact that it happened to Jeevan of all people is almost poetic because who the fuck else would get robbed like that except Jeevan? And that just kicks off Hazel's long line of messy, messy HOHs.
Yeah, absolutely. Both great options.
Alex Ace.
What a mess.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll go. Oh, do you want to go, Alex?
I was gonna say you absolutely go ahead. Guess first.
Yeah, of course. So I'm gonna talk about my season because it's the only one that I really actively participated in. So last
We all
season,
talk about
we
ourselves. You're
actually
good.
exactly. See, I gotta get my screen time. Last season there were two sleep weeks actually. I was the victim of the later one, so I'm not gonna talk about that one. But we're gonna talk about the first one, which was in week 3. It was at the hands of Miss Nicole, Miss Fan Favorite. So
Work
she
fan
won the
favorite.
week. Hey, she won the week 3 Fairy Week Head of Household alongside Donnie because this was when Bottle of the Block was still in place. She nominates Devlin and Joey. Oh my gosh,
Look who
who is
decided
this?
to show up.
Look who
Sydney's
on it.
here.
Is that my
I'm
favorite
in my
person
car,
ever?
literally in my car.
She's on her
Hey,
horse right now.
literally,
Exactly.
giddy up.
Sydney just
The horse
couldn't.
Okay.
is
She couldn't miss
running.
the pod with him. She
No,
would run
literally,
away.
honestly, I was like, how can I miss the Ace Pod? Like, that's actually fucked up of me. My bad.
I know. It's okay. You're here though. And I was just
Next time
Okay.
I'll
talking
just say
about my
fuck women.
nomination.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
now
Please
you're just
continue.
interrupting his section. So
I
like
know.
let's
Please
reshine the
Honestly,
continue.
spotlight.
powerful.
Oh my gosh.
Go ahead and continue, Ace. And then if Sydney has a sweep week she wants to talk about, she could talk about it.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, so back to where we were going. So yeah, of course. So this week actually started off pretty slow. We had Nicole nominating Devin and Joey. Two people had been on the block before. Joey had actually been on the block both weeks already. And then we had Donnie, who had been a week 1 nominee of Brittany, so he nominated Brittany as well. And he nominated Caleb next to her. So we had Devin and Joey versus Caleb and Brittany. Caleb and Brittany, the two biggest competition threats in the season thus far, and probably the two biggest competition season threats of the season totally.
Mhm.
And so no surprise, Devin and Joey get their shit kicked in, and they lose round of the block, and Caleb is not Caleb, and Donnie is dethroned. So then we go into the veto, and Nicole also wins this one. She pretty quickly uh, throws away the veto because, I mean, they're her noms. They're also pretty quote unquote easy noms in the way that they're not inactive, but these are definitely the two people who are on more so the bottom of the house, bottom of each side at the very least, or sides that were yet to be determined. Um, but we would soon see that this vote would be a very split vote, a very important vote moving forward, as the two quote unquote sides, one being Shield, who was an alliance of, let me see if I can remember all of them. Cody, Jocasta, Brittany, Derek, Nicole, and Zach.
I was
Quote
about to say
unquote
you're
Zach.
not going to get helped by the name because they did
Hmm.
not make it an acronym.
Oh no,
Yeah,
it's an
I
acronym,
didn't
just
get
the
it.
wrong letter.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Zach had the H. So
yeah,
there we go.
exactly.
But so they had them wanting to vote out Joey, as two of them had already nominated Joey. Actually, three of them now have already nominated Joey, and Brittany, Derek, and oh no. Did Brittany nominate Joey? I don't know, but they were not on
Yeah,
good
yeah, they
terms.
both had at that point.
Yeah. They were not on good terms. So Shield wanted Joey out. Then we had the Bluey Brigade, my side
We
personally
ride.
speaking. Hey. So even though we were very hardly organized, we did have a very also solid group of people who were wanting to keep Joey. So we had me, Hayden, we had Victoria, we had Caleb and Christine. So this misfit group of fucking rugrats we had wanting to keep Joey. And we also had Amber, who we had a quartet alliance with me, Victoria, Joey, and her. And then we had Donnie, and we had Mr. Donnie in the middle alongside his buddy Zach. And for some godforsaken reason, Donnie and Zach decide that they want to split this vote 6-5. And all of a sudden, it's a very integral vote as everyone starts to notice that, hey, this vote is being decided right now by these two people. And this is actually not what they want at all. So it's very interesting to see that they end up really having all the spotlight on them as they try to throw blame on Amber, for example. They tried to blame Amber for there not being votes to keep Joey, which is what they told Amber, even though they wanted Amber to vote for Joey to stay. So it was just a series of events of very nonsensical, very silly, goofy, unserious things
Yes.
that they were doing.
Yeah.
So in the end, this is where I come in, yay. So me literally going back home on spring break, boarding my plane in 20 minutes, I get the news that, hey, Amber, Donnie, and Zach, some of them are not voting to keep Joey. So I say, fuck this bullshit. We're making a chat. We're settling this right now.
As you should.
So we make an alliance chat called like sticky situation or whatever. And we say, hey, all three of you have told me that you want to keep Joey. So what the fuck is happening? And then Amber goes and makes their own little chat. So they have their own 3 foot chat and they decide keeping Joey, thankfully. And Zach decides to throw Hinky vote to stay, quote unquote, in the good graces of Shield. And Devin goes home 6-5 in a very random ass split vote that really decided kind of the course of the season they're on.
Absolutely.
So it's very
Yeah.
important. And it was also the beginning of the end for Mr. Zachary. So very fun week in general. So
Such
I
a
really
good
like
week.
that
One of the best weeks in Rewind's history.
Truly, the birth of the Blue Brigade.
Yes.
Like,
Thank
Hey.
God. We're better for it.
one.
Alex, do you have a nominee or two to throw in there?
I do. I have a nominee, and our nominee actually ties into the winner of our last poll in a way,
Oh, good.
with Sunflower and her dumb bitch juice. Uh, so one of the reasons why I would argue that Sunflower sipped the dumb bitch juice is that it completely torpedoed their relationship with Tiny Kong, because they had like a pretty good relationship with Tiny Kong. Like Tiny Kong was leaking like pasta stuff to Sunflower and just kind of like, really leaking a lot of their game. They were pretty close. And then because Sunflower just decided to nominate two of Hazel's allies because of the leaking of I'm Pasta.
Mm-hmm.
Tiny, in Hazel's very measured way, decides, fuck this, okay, you're dead to me. And
Yeah.
that starts kind of like a bit of a public beef, which spills over into the next week where, long story short, I'm going to be nominating Hazel's first successful HOH, but I'm setting up backstory first because it's like, the reason why it's so good is because it's like the end of this amazing like story arc of this like Sunflower Tiny Kong just feud.
Mm-hmm.
And so in week 4, right after Doom RIP goes out, it was Sunflower and Zelda, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they attempt to backdoor Tiny Kong by like forcing. Oh god, everything was like such a fucking blur. So who won veto? It was
So
Sunflower won veto.
yes.
Yes.
Zelda was HOH and
Yes,
Sunflower won veto. Yeah.
that's
On
right.
your
And
MVP, yeah.
Sunflower used veto on Lara against Zelda's will. Like she was begging, like, please don't use this POV. Like I don't want to have to make a renom. What are you doing? And so Sunflower basically bullies Zelda into doing this.
It was so bad. Just so
A fucking mess. I'm even hearing from like Zelda like bitching about this, and like we were obs at that point. It was just ridiculous. So basically, Tiny survives this backdoor because of me nominating Magikarp to as like the MVP nom and everything. So that cuts down a number for them. Tiny Kong is now like fully seeing red, publicly beefing. Like ceremonies is just like a battleground right now.
yeah.
And she basically declares like, if you guys keep me, I will only have 2 people I'm going to nominate. It is going to be Zelda. It is going to be Sunflower. I will not nominate anyone else until I like kill this goddamn lead. Like she was on a warpath.
Mm-hmm.
And then fast forward to, I forget the week it was. Thank you.
Week 6, yeah.
Week 6, when she won HOH, she threw up Sunflower, she threw up Zelda. Shinx was the MVP nom that week. And then Tiny won veto, pulls down Shinx. Clem goes up again. So that's like RIP Pasta. Because I think that was actually an America MVP nom.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
they were in their whole vote against the HOH bullshit.
Yeah. They were very much into that. And also fucking with Shinx at every opportunity.
Yep.
But anyway, so, you know, despite all that, the numbers were still there. Tiny Kong got her Sunflower like murder. She spread the herbicide. It was just really great. And it was just, she finally got an HOH that went her way, that built her bonds stronger, that got out someone who was against her, that didn't vote out her ally, you know?
Yeah.
Her allies were on the block. She could have lost an ally, you know, if it was like her previous history. But so snaps to Hazel, snaps to Tiny Kong. And yeah, I don't know. It was just a really satisfying end to that story.
It was such a good arc. And one thing that I love so much about 15 is that you guys just were not afraid to vote how you wanted to vote. There were so many, especially in like the middle part of the game, like cycle 3, Doom vote 6-4. Very next cycle, Magikarp vote 5-4. Sunflower vote 4-3. Aaron vote.
It was a very split house. It was very like, as we saw with the whole like buffet of it all, you know, the pastas, the salads, the breadsticks, the croutons, whatever the fuck.
Yes, absolutely. There was only like
craft services was busy that season.
I think there was like 4 unanimous votes like the whole season, and like 2 of those were sole votes to evict.
Votes? Yeah.
Wasn't one of them Laura? Because we all were just like so tired of having split votes. We were like, okay, she's just like swinging back and forth. Like,
well, speaking of Tiny Kong voted for Sombra, so it wasn't unanimous, but she voted for Sombra because she wanted to know for sure if Shinx was safe or not right away. If Shinx got 0 votes to evict.
Oh. That's wholesome. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was the reason. They should ruin my perfect.
Yes, because we always, if there was 0 votes, it would always be like, with 0 votes to evict, you were safe. And so she wanted to know if you were safe or not sooner. So really, she did it for you. So
thank you, Hazel.
All right, Sydney,
Appreciate it.
do you
He's so
have
sweet.
any sweep week nominees? It's okay if you don't.
Well, I do. I just want to point out that I'm in my car. Yes. Am I smoking a cigarette? Yes. Did I
Oh
actually
my
just get
God,
lost?
Sydney, what's
Well,
wrong
yes.
with you?
But are we gonna be okay? Yeah, we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
The
Don't be
only
bad.
sweep week I can think of, and I swear to God, this isn't because I just think of me. I just couldn't think of anything else. Was my sweep week in
Period.
7. And it's
Yeah.
honestly not even impressive because of like it's impressive for me because like I don't win comps. Like we know that. Like
You
I'm
got
not.
Laura
If they're,
Dern out. That's
The
impressive
Laura
enough
Dern
to
of it
yeah,
me.
if
all.
there's one thing
Honestly,
about me,
Sid, part
if
of me is
I'm
like, wait, you had a sweep week? Like, what? Congrats.
right.
Yeah.
Well, it was mostly just like that's what it was kind of just like a coincidence. Also, like HOH was like kind of thrown to me. But anyway, I did win. I also was in Vegas that week, drunk as fuck when I won both of these competitions, which was even funnier.
That
But I
explains it.
won HOH. It was like final 7.
6.
I can't
6.
remember. Final 6. And
The Ring of
I
Fire.
do think it was somewhat important because the main issue I was having at that point was my two besties, Julia and Cheevan,
Elizabeth.
aka Elizabeth Olsen, they were fighting. Like Elizabeth wanted Julia out, and she didn't know that me and Julia were besties. So by being HOH, I was able to essentially like kind of halt that plan for another week. And also in my head, Laura was the only person that I thought would put up me and Liz on the block against each other because Laura had kind of been an op to us. And like selfishly, Laura was the next closest person to Julia. So I had like a lot of reasons for wanting Laura out. So by winning HOH, I was able to put Laura on the block, and I was able to essentially be like, Liz, like, I don't think we should put up Julia. I just fed her like bullshit. I don't even know what I told her, but like she just had to take it. And then somehow I also won veto, which was like actually crazy. Again, drunk in Vegas, like slay. Like I can't win a comp sober at home. So like I don't know what was going on that week. I genuinely could not tell you. The next comp I ever won in an org, I won by random Katsu in Pixel Brothers. So like like that. So
Hey, you won the final
yeah.
HOH.
Right. Well,
Got
anyway,
part
so I won
1.
POV and I froze the noms, obviously. And I mean, Julia was into getting rid of Laura at that point, but I definitely did like a little bit of weaseling. I was like, we need to get rid of her. Like, she would put me up on the block next to Liz, and I'd probably leave against Liz. And that was when there was like that dramatic moment where Laura thought, of course, that she had Julia's vote. And then at the last minute, Julia had to be like, I'm flipping, like, I'm so sorry. And that's when Laura sent her like that long, like, I'll never vote for you in jury. Like, I can't believe this happened to me again. Like, of absolute tirade. Deserved. I mean, honestly, deserved. Like, Julia deserved it. She leaves. And then, like, literally 20 minutes later, we have the double, which is where Liz got taken out. Like, that whole thing was crazy.
Yeah.
So,
Quite the
I'm
memorable sweep
nominating
week, if you ask
myself.
me.
I don't know. It's just like iconic season, I guess. Like, what can I say?
It's true.
Period.
Hey.
Well,
You
great.
can almost say it was All Stars.
It's true.
I don't know where I am.
All right. Well,
Bro, what?
that's gonna wrap us up for the week, pretty much. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Ace, for being our extra special guest
Yes.
for the episode.
Thank you for
Yay.
We
having
loved
me.
having you.
Jeffrey.
Thank you, Sydney, for hopping on at the last minute as you're smoking a cigarette in your car.
And you're
Thank you,
very
Alex
insightful top
and
billing.
Jinx, as always. We'll see you guys next time. Same time, same place. You know where to find us. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.